And we have the green ramp decks.
Those are, yeah, but those are like, we haven't seen any of them yet, you know? I'm not sure. Are they still on top, do you think?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
I saw a few of the stronger players in the room playing mono blue in both formats.
A
Mono
hardy
blue folk
handshake.
in modern and mono blue in standard.
Yeah, and it helps because you only need a certain number of extra cards to play both decks.
Right, they both play like Thassa and Master of Waves and stuff.
Mutavaults.
Turn 1, Temple of Deceit.
Oh,
It's good to play your tap lands early so it doesn't hinder
Liliana
your
of the Dark Realm
development later.
in Adrian's hand?
That is a Liliana. I didn't even see that in his
Neither
list.
did I. Oh, there's two. Right between the Deadbridge Chant and the Whip of Erebos.
It's an interesting card, though. It works exceptionally well with Pack Rat because it gives you a card to discard every turn while not using up your mana like Underworld Connections does.
It's kind of like an Underworld Connections in the sense that you are drawing a card every turn.
And then sometimes it randomly kills a Thassa.
That's true.
Which is sweet.
-5 will kill a Thassa.
The problem is that against decks that are playing Thassa, Liliana is kind of too slow.
It's a little bit too especially clunky. Because if you look at Adrian's board right now where he has 2 non-swamp lands,
right?
Like you're gonna have to wait till turn 7 to kill a Thassa, if that was your game plan.
But if it comes down to kill a Nightveil Spectre when you're on the play and they were on the draw.
And Adrian plays Nightveil Spectre. And one thing you'll notice about Adrian Sullivan is that he plays all his cards upside down.
He says so that his opponents can read the cards easier.
I don't know about all that.
I don't know about that either.
I don't know if Adrian's going to be helping his opponent out like that.
I think it's to tilt people.
It is a little tilting.
Are you tilted right now?
I am right now.
Chain to the Rocks.
I always think of Shot Through the Heart when I hear Chain to the Rocks, and it makes me want to sing.
I think of Goreclan Chainwalker, and I'm like, how would that work?
Gorehouse Chainwalker.
Gorehouse Chainwalker. My apologies.
Don't put that red Rakdos creature into the Gruul Gore clan. Don't be crossing the clans, the guilds, things.
There's a Nykthos, Liliana, fetch a swamp. Seems very good here.
Not bad, yeah. Just
I believe John Hanna has some Dreadbores in his deck. He's got a couple Heroes Downfall. He's got a Rakdos Return.
And Liliana is unlike Underworld Connections in that you can use it on the turn she comes into play, if you play her on curve.
Although they both come down the same spot on the curve to draw an extra card, though. Because if you play an Underworld Connections on 4 mana, you're going to be drawing a card.
Right, that's what I mean. But like, essentially, it makes them both cost 4 to draw the card the turn they come into play.
That's true.
So it's not even that much worse, you know. And like, he just wasted a Dreadbore, so he got his value out of it.
I don't think that was a waste.
No, not a waste at all. But it got it out of his hand, is what I mean.
Sure.
You know?
The Liliana was a 2-for-1,
right.
which is awesome.
Yeah. And that's really all I look for in Magic the Gathering.
John Hanna showing us his hand here. He has a Boros Reckoner, an Aurelia, and an Ultimate Price, I believe.
Sometimes you got to pay the ultimate price.
Sometimes you do, yes. I don't think that Boros Reckoner is going to get very far. Adrian Sullivan has an Abrupt Decay in his hand.
Yeah, that guy's...
The other thing that Abrupt Decay can hit is the Chain to the Rocks
yeah.
to get back his Nightveil Spectre.
Just get your Nightveil Spectre back into turn. Which
is sweet, because 2 mana instant speed.
Might do.
Deciding his Scry here. I didn't see what he was deciding on.
Nope, we go Desecration Demon, I guess.
And after your opponent has already used a Dreadbore, Desecration Demon looks like a pretty good follow-up play. Yeah,
because you have and a Chain to the Rocks as well, so you have to assume that their spot removal is a lot less. Oh, and it was.
John Hanna does not have a land. What's going on? Oh, they're backing up to Adrian's turn.
Interesting.
Something happened that should not have happened. Oh, he doesn't have a second black.
Oh, it was tapped from
because the temple was a Scry coming to play tap land.
That's actually an easy fix. You just put him back in the hand, basically.
Right. So it's a good thing that game did not progress very far there.
Yeah.
I actually missed it.
Well,
probably because Adrian has 4 different non-basic lands in play.
I didn't miss it. I just thought we went to the next turn where he untapped the Temple of Deceit.
Okay, sure. You thought that he could have used the temple to play the... Read the Bones.
Some bones are getting read.
A pretty good card here. That's the type of card you want to play on an empty board where you are not being pressured. And that is exactly what just happened. John Hanna deciding if he wants to bottom any cards off of the Scry here. Still considering. And he decides to keep both. Blood Crypt into play tapped, passes the turn back to Adrian Sullivan, who draws and now has the option to play his demon if he so chooses. And he was a little bit tilting there. I think if you have the mana open, you should be Abrupt Decaying the Chain to the Rocks to get back your Nightveil Spectre.
Yeah, Nightveil Spectre seems like a good choice in this matchup, especially
Get an
because
attack in.
I mean you're gonna hit your lands. You can hit extra lands, and then since you're playing black anyway, like the odds of you being able to cast the spell is if it's like Desecration Demon or a Hero's Downfall or something. That's a foil Elspeth.
That's hot.
That's a $70 right there.
When he decides to kill it, this Abrupt Decay could be very good.
Yeah.
Because the Elspeth's at 1 counter.
And then you just get you just get your demon back, and then you kill the Elspeth. Wow.
We'll get your Nightveil Spectre back.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. And you kill it with dose damages. Yeah, this is Elspeth. I imagine. Yep.
Yeah.
Seems good.
Way better than a random card.
Or just
a
dealing
6-mana
2
Planeswalker.
damage, you know.
Yeah, 2 damage doesn't seem super relevant at this point. 5 mana, what could this be? Grey Merchant? Yep.
Yep, and it is.
Drain you for 5.
That's not bad. 13 to 23.
2 damage is starting to seem better.
2 damage is starting to seem better. I mean, it's just...
That's a Mizium Mortars.
John Hanna doesn't seem to be putting up much of a fight, but I guess he can wipe the board, I guess.
Overloaded Mizium Mortars here?
Yeah, that seems
excellent.
Right. That's a 2-for-1.
Right. It also prevents further Grey Merchants from just destroying him.
That's true.
Because a third Grey Merchant here would be super brutal.
Oh, yeah, it'd be 8 damage. You mean a third or a second?
A second.
Yeah.
A third creature.
Yep.
And then we see the Overload.
Good night, Nurse.
Adrian, quick to bin his guys. I don't think that was wholly unexpected.
And a whip.
Whip is awesome.
Not
here.
bad with a Grey Merchant in the yard.
He also has a Desecration. He also has a Demon.
Yeah, we still have the Demon that we saw.
So that's at least like 10 damage.
Adrian should play with his hand revealed too to help his opponent out. Just put everything backwards.
His hand of Gaze of Granite. Another black card. I didn't see all of it.
Demon, Gaze, and something else. It looked like a gold card, but I wasn't sure.
Boros Reckoner.
I don't know if that
not
Boros
a very
Reckoner
good card
is
here.
long for this world. Oh, and a Demon. All right.
Demon's pretty sweet. More foils.
If Adrian draws 1 land, he just goes Gaze of Granite.
It looks like
right?
roughly half of John Hanna's deck is pimped out.
I guess we get rid of the whip too, though. Yeah, it looks like he's got a pretty solid foiling deck thing. I don't know what I'm saying right.
Pimpage. 50% pimp.
I'm gonna leave that one with you.
It's fair.
All right.
Adrian has a lot of decisions here. He can deploy more threats from his hand. He can start activating Whip.
It doesn't look like John's hand is that spicy. It just looks like I see a Boros Reckoner and a land, I think. One other card.
The Demon might give Adrian some trouble here.
Demon gives a lot of people trouble.
I think I saw a Pack Rat in Adrian's hand.
That dude is a degenerate.
Pack Rat's kind of interesting with Whip because you can discard a creature and then get it back. I've never seen a situation where that was correct to do, but it is possible.
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have definitely happened. Adrian's still mulling over this very complicated turn. Depending on what he does, I don't know if he has another land here or whatever, he could activate Nykthos if he got another creature in play.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like that's happening.
Yeah, he'd have to get another creature for any kind of value whatsoever.
I saw a Cyclonic Rift in his hand.
Oh, that's pretty scary.
That's a hot card.
There's the old
Does
rat.
decide to play the Pack Rat. And passing. So he's moving in on the Rat Army.
Does he have the Gaze in hand?
He does. His hand is Gaze of Granite, Cyclonic Rift, third card I don't know about.
So he can't be intent on playing that Gaze anytime soon.
No, not if he runs out the Pack Rat here.
But I don't know how you deal with Desecration Demon right now.
You probably just kill your opponent. I think he intends to kill his opponent, Frank.
I mean, it seems like it's going to take a lot of work, though.
It could. But again, every time he makes a Pack Rat token, he's adding to his Devotion for black.
And he's adding
which
to
is
the
making
Pack Rat's
Nykthos
front.
better,
Yeah,
and it's
fair.
making the Grave Merchant in his
I mean, the
graveyard
numbers
better.
could be there. He can make a Pack Rat. Oh, that's a good one.
That is a pile of damage.
Dear jeez.
Although Adrian does have a Cyclonic Rift in hand. I think Adrian was hoping he could overload that Cyclonic Rift next turn.
I would too, but
to
I don't know
take
if you're going to
advantage
go
of-
next turn right now. 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Well,
That's
he can
24 damage.
He can sacrifice to the demon
Yeah.
for
You
one
have
of the
to
attack
make
steps.
a rat
so
and
it's
sack
just
the demon.
12 damage, which would leave Adrian at 11, which is plenty of life.
Does Aurelia untap all creatures or just those that attack?
Just those that attacked.
So, yeah, okay, that's
I'm pretty sure.
Well,
Yeah. There's no way it would untap your whole team. Maybe it does.
it's a mythic. Mythics have,
Yeah, because like if you use a mana guy to play him, Adrian's taking the time to read him right now.
a wise
Probably
choice.
because of that very interaction.
Aurelia the War Leader says whenever it attacks...
Untap all creatures you control.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You were correct.
So,
So that makes Cyclonic Rifting here look a lot better.
Yeah, but then how do you deal with... You still have to deal with her next turn as well, you know? Unless you're bouncing the demon, but I don't know if that's the play.
Yeah, I don't really like bouncing the demon.
I don't really like Adrian's options here, I'll be honest.
I still like him in this game, though. Like, John Hanna is representing more damage, but Adrian still has the life advantage. He still has an active whip. He still has a Grey Merchant in his graveyard. Of the options to win the game, I prefer Adrian's. And he bounces the 6-drop. That makes sense. And John Hanna decides to serve for 9. That might just kill him. Adrian drops to 14. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I only see 10 damage with making a pack rat and then whipping back Grey Merchant. So he's not going to win that way. Drew a swamp for the turn. 10 damage is also gaining 10 life, though, so he would go up to 24. If he decided to make a pack rat and activate whip and get back Grey Merchant.
Yeah. Which doesn't really do it.
But it brings him very close.
Yeah, but
John
I mean,
Hanna
like...
would be at 3. Adrian would be at 24. Six plus 12 is 18 plus... Although... Yeah, and then he would have to sacrifice a pack rat to tap a demon on one of the attack steps. Adrian's made a decision. He's tapping some mana.
I mean, he still has to deal with that Aurelia.
Correct. Although John Hanna would not have lethal if Adrian gained 10 life. Because he could sacrifice a pack rat to tap the demon one of the times.
Man, make a pack rat.
If he didn't have a sacrifice, he'd be taking
Rashad Miller
Xaxes.
pack rat.
A very complicated board state.
Yeah, it actually is. Like, I think there's a lot of decisions to be made right here, and I think if you make the wrong one, the lifelink from the Whip of Erebos is very relevant.
Super relevant, yeah.
Now he can actually activate Nykthos for 4.
Right.
So, yeah, so he can activate Nykthos, get back Merchant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do a 6 for 6, and then also attack.
I kind of like getting back Desecration Demon instead.
Yeah,
Because
that's
Grey
not bad either.
Merchant is more like direct damage. It'll drain whether his opponent has a blocker or not.
And then the next turn you can actually make another pack rat and
The
drain
scary
for
thing
even
is
more.
if he makes a demon, his opponent can tap it down by sacrificing the Boros Reckoner or his own demon.
No, he went with the Grey
So he
Merchant.
decides not to do that.
That and you're able to gain 2 more life from the Grey Merchant attack. So he's going to gain 12 this turn, which is pretty solid.
10.
Oh, 10.
One of the
Oh,
pack
one of the pack
rats
rats can attack, correct, yeah.
I don't think there's any benefit in
They don't
not
have haste too, you don't think?
the pack rat tokens.
Yeah.
That would be pretty insane.
All
Pack
right.
rats plus hammer. Hammer of Perforos.
Oh, that's a deck I
That
can
would be
play.
so scary. Oh my god, I want to brew this now.
I'm getting excited about that. So he goes to John Hanna's a 3. Yeah, I don't know. I like having the Grey Merchant in the graveyard as like a fireball.
Right, and now it's exiled, so that's no longer an
Yeah.
option.
Whereas like if
I wonder if Adrian did the math for getting back Demon, because if his opponent sacrifices a Boros Reckoner, that's one less attacker.
possibly, but if John has any removal for that pack rat, Adrian's dead, right?
Correct. So that's the
24.
downfall. That's the downfall.
It doesn't look like it. Looks. I see Assemble the Legion. I see Aurelia.
Well, there's 2 pack rats too. So
Oh, that's right. He can sack the other one. That's true.
right.
I keep forgetting that he's not blocking. He's just sacking.
Yep.
I guess I don't keep forgetting. I forgot it once. That's.
Another play.
No, it's a Boros Reckoner.
Sure. Which you had pointed out was in his hand earlier.
Yeah, and I feel like if he just got through with if he tried to get through with the demon, well, no, maybe not though. But then he would be at much lower life.
So he has to take the demon from the first attack and then tap it down the second time. Because if he taps it down at first, he'll be taking 1 more point of
So I'll be
damage.
taking 7 instead of 6. Yeah.
Adrian realizes this is correct. Oh my god, if they write down the damage, then the Aurelia trigger, untap trigger didn't happen, and we've already moved past it.
That's interesting. If that's something Adrian.
That looks like a missed trigger to me. They have confirmed damage. A judge appears to be pointing at the table. They might go back because the Desecration Demon trigger was never put on the stack. Adrian shakes his head no. It looks like John Hanna is not going to get to untap his creatures from Aurelia.
Wait, no.
Oh, nope, they're untapping
Okay.
anyway. Looks like they backed up to that. Interesting.
Well, Adrian still says his life total still says 12 though. So it looks like he did take 12 from those dudes. Yeah, and Adrian's like sack a rat to this degenerate.
Sure. And this is how we thought that the turn was going to play out.
Yeah, this was almost the only option really.
Sure. It's possible that us here in the booth couldn't hear John Hanna announce his triggers when he made the attack, which is a perfectly fine shortcut. You don't have to physically do things if you announce your triggers. Everyone
because
knows that they're happening.
We're all adults here.
Right.
We know what's going on.
I mean, speak for yourself.
Okay. some of us are children in adults' clothing. So can he win though?
Can who win?
Can Adrian actually win here?
I mean, if he draws the Grey Merchant off the top,
yeah,
that's
okay.
a very easy win. A Cyclonic Rift would
Oh,
probably
Grey
also
Merchant.
be a great
Why
win.
do you even exist?
Although there's only 1 Cyclonic Rift in his main deck, so
Yeah.
that out is removed from him.
He's got 3 Grey Merchants though.
He also
remaining.
has Gaze of Granite.
That's true. He could just wipe the board.
Right.
But
Gaze for 4.
John Hanna has an Assemble the Legion.
Not in play.
No, in hand though.
Sure.
That looks like a land.
And the 12 life is correct because the Boros Reckoner didn't serve the second time.
Yeah, John's on the defense. But did Aurelia? Aurelia felt like she should have, right?
Correct. It's interesting.
She got vigilance. Just get in there.
What is Adrian Sullivan going to do? He can whip back the Desecration Demon, have it get tapped down, use Pack Rat to tap down the Demon, and he would take 12 exactly, which is not a thing he can afford to do.
Yeah, blocking with...
He could John Hanna could even sacrifice his own Demon to deny Adrian the chance to tap down his damage.
Yeah. And the bad thing about Boros Reckoner is that guy is almost impossible for Adrian to block.
Correct.
Like, you can block it with a Pack Rat, but that implies that if you only have... even if you have 2 Pack Rats, you're going to take 4 from both those Reckoners.
Correct.
At a minimum.
Although the Pack Rats do have lifelink.
That's true.
So...
Yeah, the lifelink is
it's like
very
they're being
relevant in this
blocked
matchup.
straight up.
That's fair, yeah. I do like a lifelink.
Whip of Erebos versus Boros Reckoner. The ultimate showdown. Now, if
Pack Rat versus 4 rares.
If Adrian is deciding that he's got to Gaze of Granite for 4 here, then it makes sense to serve with the Pack Rat. There's really no reason not
Yeah,
to.
because then he's just going to die anyway. So 3, 4.
It costs 4 mana to activate the whip, so Adrian needs to tap another mana somewhere to do this, and that looks like that's happening.
Yeah, Adrian looks like he's under a little pressure here.
Gaze of Granite for Ford no longer an option because
No.
he doesn't have access to green mana.
Yeah. No, he has a breeding pool, but he'd have to tap it and the other land to activate Nykthos,
Right.
which just nets you one color. Plus, he wouldn't.
I
I
don't
don't think
like
he'd have
sacrificing
nearly
the
enough.
Boros Reckoner. I prefer sacrificing the Demon for reasons that I already...
Yeah.
So, how will Adrian get out of this one? He can make a guy to block a Boros Reckoner. He could sacrifice the other one to tap a Demon. He could sack them both to tap a Demon twice. But if he sacks them both to tap a Demon twice, then
He still
just
takes
the other
6 from
would still take 12.
yeah,
Yeah,
from Boros and Aurelia,
and there's a removal spell, so that should just be game.
the end.
Oh,
Oh, wait,
no.
hold on.
He's got tricks.
Oh, make another route, I guess. I still think that's game.
I still think that's game as well.
Hadrian's using every last tool at his disposal.
I guess if John Hanna misses an Aurelia trigger, it's possible.
Yeah. I mean, you want to give your opponent... Oh, well, that's a good card, too. You want to give your opponent the option to misplay, so... God, getting him to 3 life, though. So close.
Very close, yep. Very close game.
I mean, he could draw a Grey Merchant.
John Hanna
He's
verifying that
like,
his
"Can I
opponent
just
is in fact dead on
attack?"
board.
Attack. Trigger. Untap. Oh, he didn't even untap the Desecration Demon.
Not necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I guess not. It still makes me wonder if it's
They were
like if it's
shortcutting.
him missing it or...
No, he wasn't missing it. He just knew that he had lethal. So there's some interesting sideboards here. Adrian Sullivan. I'm actually going to list off this sideboard because it is full of crazy cards. 2 Gainsay, 2 Negate, 2 Thoughtseize to complement the two main deck, 3 Farika's Cure for the aggressive red decks. We
Yeah.
won't see it here. 1 Clone,
That's
1
interesting.
Erebos, 2 Progenitor Mimic, and 2 Mistcutter Hydra.
Progenitor Mimic is a spicy number.
Right. I think that's mostly against decks that have like very good creatures. Cards
Yeah.
like Obsidat and
Even
Blood
like
Baron.
I would even copy an Arbor Colossus or something, or like a...
Sure.
What's the other
guess the
card in that
red-green-
deck? Like a Pelucranos.
Oh yeah. That
Especially because
sounds
they don't. Well, I guess it would kill itself though. But yeah, TCGPlayer now allows you to for the public to sell their Magic cards on TCGPlayer.com.
like
So,
you would with eBay.
Yeah, it's like eBay, except our fees are better.
Fewer steps.
You don't have to go through PayPal. With eBay, you'd have to put a description. You'd have to upload your own picture. If you sell through us, all the images are there. Everyone knows what the cards are. You pick the card you want to sell, the condition it's in, and you name a price. And that's pretty much it. It's about 3 clicks, and then you're done. So now the public, you, me, Caleb, we can sell our cards on the largest gaming marketplace on the internet. So feel free to do that.
It sounds convenient.
It's real convenient. I've done it myself, actually. I used to sell on eBay a lot, and now I exclusively just use TCG just because it's so much easier.
Going back to these sideboards, I'm not really sure what Adrian Sullivan's going to bring in. Erebos is an option because it's a grindy matchup, and that would let him like draw some cards.
Yeah.
What
do you think? Also,
the clones also look very good here.
I like Clone not only just because of the great creatures that John Hanna has, but also because it can copy I like Clone being able to just copy a god.
Or a Gray Merchant.
Or a Grey Merchant. That's like Grey Merchant number 5. That's the name of my indie band, Grey Merchant number 5.
Clone effects copy the casting cost too, which matters for devotion.
Oh yeah. Radio, good sir.
John Hanna's sideboard mostly complements to his main deck cards. Anger of the Gods, Assemble the Legion, flushing out those numbers. He has a few Slaughter Games, a few Underworld Connections, a Miser Elspeth Sun's Champion, and 3 Sin Collectors. So a lot of cards here for the control-ish type matchups, which Adrian Sullivan is. I can see John Hanna bringing in
Sin
a couple
Collector
more,
seems really good against
more
Adrian's
Assemble the
list.
Legion.
I mean,
Maybe.
being able to rip all the removal spells out of his hand, like if you can take out a Hero's Demise, a Hero's Downfall, before he plays an Elspeth, like
I could see that.
yeah, I mean, it just because your creatures are so good. Like if they're allowed to stay in play, like you just start to dominate, right?
The other thing is, the counterpoint to that is that the black devotion decks really care about board presence.
Yeah, they do.
That's what devotion
That's true.
is. It's all about board presence.
But it feels like because Adrian's not running things like Underworld Connections, or he just has the two Dead Bridge chance.
That's something.
Oh, it's something, but it costs a lot more.
Still has the whips.
I mean, you
He's
can
got
take
Liliana's.
Cyclonic Rift, Abrupt Decay, Devour Flesh, Doomblade.
Adrian probably bringing in these Thoughtseizes. Might be bringing in Negate.
Yeah, Thoughtseize seems good.
Clones.
I mean, like, it's just basically... Because
Cutting cards like Ultimate Price.
John Hanna's curve pretty much starts at 3 and 4.
Right, yeah.
Like with Desecration Demon, Boros Reckoner, guys like that, you know, so... I mean, you can actually just wait until turn 3 to Thoughtseize when you're on the play, and then nail
the best card.
most of his good threats.
Yeah, that's a very good point. John Hanna also has a wear and tear in the sideboard. I don't know if that comes in expectation of Underworld connections. It also hits whip. You could play both halves of wear and tear in this matchup.
Yeah, and you can hit the Deadbridge Chant, and whether he knows about Deadbridge Chant or not, he has to assume that there's a Underworld Connections,
right.
an Underworld Connections-esque card in this matchup that will draw cards for Adrian.
Both players starting out developing their mana base. Bam, Nightveil Spectre. One of the best early threats in a mid-range grindy matchup, which is what we have here. The question is, how much removal did John Hanna board out? Not that much, because there one is. That is a dead Nightveil Spectre. Adrian Sullivan throwing that whip into play. John Hanna did, in fact, bring in Sin Collector. It's his draw for the turn. But what is the play? It looks like that's Sin Collector. We see a second whip, an Abrupt Decay, a Cyclonic Rift, and a Doomblade. So plenty of great options for the Sin Collector. Of these cards, I think the Cyclonic Rift is the scariest.
And he only has one, too, so he might not know that, but if he does end up getting rid of it,
it's gone for
that's
good.
it, yeah. Unless Adrian has a Snapcaster in his 75, but in that case, he
takes the Doomblade.
We're not going to see the rest of this match.
What does that imply? Does that imply Boros Reckoner?
Sin Collector, I mean, it could also...
or Aurelia.
Yeah.
I think those are the only two Doombladeable threats
the
in John Hanna's decks.
Yeah. I mean, and again, like if when you're John and you play Sin Collector, I'd be like, okay, Cyclonic Rift it. Go for it.
Adrian activating Whip so that he gets a Nightveil Spectre hit in. I think that's mostly to hit a land drop, which he ends up missing.
Yeah, that's not good.
Not a good sign for Adrian.
Especially when you're down a game.
I don't think he's out of it yet, but it's definitely a bad start.
And I think the inclusion of Mutavault in Adrian's list is, I don't know if it's great, but it seems a little greedy, I'll be honest.
It seems fine. His mana's fine.
You think so?
Yeah.
Colorless land?
He still has the same chance, or he has a better chance of playing a Nightveil Spectre on turn 3 than any of the straight mono blacklists do. He only has 3 colorless lands in his deck, 2 Nykthos and a single Mutavault. So Adrian's mana is actually better than most mono blacklists, the mono black devotion lists.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Which typically run 20.
How many Mutavaults is he running? 3, you said?
He's running 1 Mutavault and
just
2
one.
Nykthos. So 3 colorless lands total.
Yeah, okay, that's not bad.
Most lists are playing at least 4 colorless lands, and some are playing 5. I saw BBD had moved up to 5 for this tournament.
How many pack rats does Adrian have? 2?
Adrian, I believe, has 2 in the main deck. Yep,
yeah,
2
okay.
pack rats.
Well, so then the Mutavault seems fine. It's like a miser's pack rat.
Right. Adrian developing with some Scrylands here, setting up his next draw, decides to keep it. Ships the turn, John Hanna draws. Looks like a land there. And I think he has a Boros Wrecker and an Aurelia in his hand. So a few different options for the threats that he deploys. Opens with a Thoughtseize. Adrian responds by Abrupt Decaying the Sin Collector.
I mean, so he's probably going to... The Whip obviously stays, so it's either Cyclonic Rift or Grey Merchant. Probably Grey Merchant, I would imagine.
Well, even if he takes the Grey Merchant, he can still whip it back.
You still get a hit, but you're not getting 2 hits is the thing.
I think Cyclonic Rift is the scarier card.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
John Hanna disagrees.
John disagrees.
It's your turn to do the I was right stretch.
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean John Hanna's play was correct. Is only my
That's
concern.
fair.
You know. I mean, not to say like I'm not a better player than you, but you know.
I do think there are benefits to taking either card.
Oh, Big Rex. I mean, that guy's gonna get bounced, and he just replays him. So I don't know if Cyclonic with no pressure on Adrian's side. I don't know if Cyclonic Rift is a threat. Is the only thing.
Sure.
You know, like if Adrian had like 2 Desecration Demons or something, then they're like, well.
But which of these cards are you eventually going to lose to? I suppose since John Hanna is at 12,
yeah,
the Grey Merchant looks scarier than it
yeah,
typically
I
does.
can see that because Grey Merchant's gonna deal 4, and then if you have to deal with him somehow, or he also blocks Boros Reckoner all day.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Not really.
How no?
The Boros Reckoner gets
Oh,
a
he just
trigger
kills
that
it. Yeah,
can
yeah.
just kill the Grey
That's fair.
Merchant. Yeah.
Yeah, but then in that situation, Adrian gets the second Grey Merchant activation, which is going to deal 8 total.
Sure.
You know, putting and that's not including if he gets one other black permanent. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because somehow Adrian gets another black permanent that costs 2 mana.
Is that a Rakdos key rune
It's
in
very
John Hanna's hand?
It's very easy for him to actually get double out.
Yeah, it looks like
just-
Rakdos key
just
rune,
kill
Boros Reckoner, and an Aurelia. Or maybe that's a Helix. I can't really tell what the gold card is in his
War
hand.
Leader's Helix is such a good card.
Yeah, I think that's a War Leader's Helix. I think I was mistaken. I don't think there's an Aurelia there.
Yeah, you should really get your head in the game, man.
Get my head in the game.
How dare you miss a
How
card?
can I not read this?
This is unbelievable. Oh, Thoughtseize first, and then we'll War Leader's Helix.
Now, last turn, he probably could have thought seized, but he tapped his second black source to play Boros Reckoner, which is fine.
Reckoner?
There's nothing wrong with playing.
I barely know
Thoughts.
her.
Wow, that was
Oh,
that was not good.
that was no, that was excellent.
That gets a solid D.
Oof. Yeah, so that's actually a fine play because now he actually gets value out of the Cyclonic Rift, and the second whip is just a dead card anyway.
Sure. Yeah, I like Rift in response there. Adrian Sullivan
You got it,
again on
Rich?
the back fort.
On the back fort, eh?
The back fort. It's
Some-
like a back foot, but more 40.
Sometimes you got 2 forts, and he's on the back one. Sometimes you get to be on the front fort, but not today.
You don't want your fort in front of the house. Then everyone can see it. You want to be hidden.
Hey, where's Adrian? Oh, he's on the back fort.
I did not see what he drew.
The Grey Merchant in the graveyard's nice because it just says you have like a 4-point. Oh boy. Well, I'm not even going to finish my train of thought after that guy comes down. And this is just what the black-red-white deck aims to do. It has a lot of disruption, creatures and hand.
And a lot of individually powerful threats.
It is that have to be dealt with.
And Assemble the Legion, a Boros Reckoner, a Desecration Demon.
Elspeth.
All of these cards can end the game on their own.
You ever cast an Elspeth?
I have.
That's like casting a cryptic command. It just feels good.
All these different modes.
Yeah, I have like a bunch of different abilities and they're all really strong. I'll negate it.
Goes for a Sorcery Speed War Leader's Helix.
It's getting a little chilly in here.
It is. Now Adrian needs to
And
tap a
there's Grey
second
Merchant.
black to activate that whip.
Adrian loves to activate the tap.
I don't know if we can tell the
one
judges
black.
that he needs to add a second black to activate whip. Rusty.
There we go. We got him.
All right. A right has been wronged in the world.
It seems like it would be more relevant depending on what card he has in his hand. Like if he had
We don't know. We don't know if it was relevant or not.
Something.
Obviously, Adrian wouldn't mistap intentionally. He's a stand-up player.
Okay.
His reputation means more to him than this match of
Than
Magic
this-
that he's
this one
doing on
match,
camera. Yeah. Just an oversight. A lot of dual lands. They all tap for green. They all look very similar.
They're all upside down.
They're all upside down.
Hey, buddy. Maybe you'd be more inclined to tap correctly if your lands were facing you.
Oh.
And Adrian brings him to 4. Goes up to 23.
And it makes sense to sacrifice the Grey
Because
Merchant.
now you can bring it
'cause-
back.
No, I mean, it's exiled.
Oh,
But the
that's
Mutavault would
true.
stick
But it would have
around.
died anyway. Yeah,
Right.
that's true. I forgot it was actually. I was like, oh my god, does he win? Because he can bring back his Grey Merchant and he kills him.
So what Adrian Sullivan did with this attack is put himself live to drawing a Grey Merchant off the top for the win. So that has to be a little bit scary for John Hanna. It also makes the negate on the Sorcery Speed War Leader's Helix make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I mean, John Hanna's also.
What if John Hanna had cast that War Leader's Helix on Adrian's upkeep? Adrian, if he had negated, wouldn't have had enough mana to make this turn, and then he would have fewer outs.
This is it. It's for all the marbles.
Does he get there? Does not look like it because he is thinking. I believe the other card he has is Nightveil Spectre.
He's not dead yet. He's at 10. I mean, even if he sacked a creature to Desecration Demon, he still only takes 9.
That's fair. You probably sacrificed the Mutavault here.
Yeah. It's still fine. I mean, you can still sack the Mutavault.
Correct.
And you can actually Underworld Connections that guy. Or whip that guy, rather.
Not that you would want to.
The Nightveil Spectre?
Yeah, because you would lose. Like, he doesn't have time
That's a good reason,
He doesn't have time to whip back Nightveil Spectre. John Hanna thinking here for a bit.
Oh, man.
Very intense.
I want to see an epic windmill slam by Adrian Sullivan of Grey Merchant.
A Grey Merchant off the top. That would be an insane end of this game. And it would give us a Game 3.
Yeah, it's actually definitely. And I wouldn't mind seeing a Game 3, actually.
It's been a very interesting match so far. Even though John Hanna has been ahead the entire time, Adrian Sullivan has played to his outs. Played such that he gave himself outs. That's a Grey Merchant. Off the top. Oh, my God. They're going to Game 3.
That was amazing.
Adrian and Sullivan at 1 life.
That was
last possible turn.
What was his? I forgot his last name. Craig. Lightning Helix. I forgot Craig's last name.
Craig Jones.
Craig Jones. What a Craig Jones moment where he, at the Pro Tour where he's like, it's got to be Lightning Helix.
Yeah, he played to draw it.
Lightning Helix and wins the match.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Plays for it, gets there.
And to be fair, Adrian was playing for his outs. He was playing towards a Grey Merchant.
He set that turn up very well.
Yeah, he had to.
He used his removal precisely.
Oh, man. How do you feel if you're John Hanna right there? Is that tilting?
I don't think John Hanna realizes that if he had upkeeped the
Warlord spell, he would have
won that game.
Yeah. Because Adrian wouldn't have had the mana to deal that extra damage.
And if he does realize it, I'm sure he's very tilted.
John would have went to 2 life instead.
Right, yeah.
And
author tokens.
TCGPlayer is introducing author tokens next year. I am on the right. Craig Wesco is on the left. And these are going to be awarded for all the max point events between now and the next championship. We're also going to add more depending on who we feel like featuring as a token. But for right now, it's me and Craig. And you can get these at any max point event you go to. Just play in max points events, and they will be awarded to you.
And you guys are considering players like Adam Yurchik, Melissa
Datora, whoever,
maybe Jackie Lee.
Yeah, maybe Jackie. Whoever. It's undecided right now, but yeah, the sky's the limit pretty much with tokens. So yeah, go out there and play some max points.
I wouldn't be excited about a sky token.
What's a sky token?
You said sky's the limit as far as tokens go. If the token was just sky.
Well, that's where we draw the line.
Oh, okay, sure.
We won't make the sky token.
We want it more exciting.
It's a 0-0. So.
Oh dear. Tokens are sweet, though. I'm always happy to see tokens.
I like author tokens.
Especially when they're people that I've met and interacted with.
Yeah, and today alone, someone has asked me to sign their breeding pool and their Flint Hoof Boar. So, I can only imagine people are going to make me, ask me to start signing their tokens of me.
Oh, nice.
Which is awesome. That's such a cool feeling.
That has to feel awesome. I'm Jelly.
What?
I am a peanut butter and jellyfish. No token yet.
That would be your creature type.
Creature type, peanut butter
and jellyfish.
I like it. I actually had an idea for personal tokens. I should probably not be sharing this idea with the world.
Here we go.
But I was going to go through people's Facebook pages and get very intimate images of professional players with their loved ones, their ex-girlfriends,
with their mom, their grandmother,
their mom, and print out and make tokens. And then if I play against them in a big event, just have personalized tokens for that person.
Rusty Kubis, one of our technical gentlemen, before the match, he was joking about how he thinks he should. We were like, "What token would you be?" And he said, "I would be a Spirit Monger token." And then I was like, "How would that even work?" And
how is that a thing?
And I'm like, "What even makes that?" And he's like, "Oh no, actually, I'd be a 2/2 that you pay 1 to put a Spirit Monger into play."
That's not a token.
And then he's like, if you get 3 of them in play, what did 3 do? Oh, if you get 3 Spiritmongers in play, you search your library for contested cliffs and put that in play. And all I could say was, Rusty, I'm glad you do not make Magic cards.
Or you play too much EDH.
Oh my God.
One of these two.
Oh, a Spiritmonger token. Not even an actual guy, but, you know, then you can populate them.
Why aren't they Lithid tokens?
What?
Lithid?
Did you say Lithid?
I think I said Lithid. I meant to say Lithid.
Was that your lisp? Why aren't they Lithid token? That's okay, I forgive you.
I appreciate that.
What would What would it be like? You equip the Spiritmonger to something?
You would enchant them.
Right, that's what I mean. I said equip like it's an artifact.
Yeah, the reason I like Lithids is because judges hate them. Lithids? Oh, I'm sorry. I did it again. Lipids.
That's not
get the
right
fats
either.
in there. Yeah, no. The reason I like Lithids is because judges hate them. And so if you come up with a rules question that involves like
might
them and
not know.
opalescence and...
So Craig started our Craig. I'm just gonna call him Craig Jones from now on. Adrian starts with Temple of Mystery, and he actually shipped a top card to the bottom.
Good. Some good filtering going on.
Got a Grey Merchant in hand.
Turn 3 Rakdos Keyrune. Very strong start from John Hanna.
Uh-oh.
The nice thing about Rakdos Keyrune is it can set up a 5-drop threat.
Yeah.
And it can also pump up a Rakdos return. And like in last game, it's a valuable threat in and of its own right.
So you would say that Rakdos' Keyrune ramps the mana.
That's
what you're getting at here?
Yes, that is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Thank you for rephrasing it so eloquently.
I just wanted to clear it up for the viewers because it seemed like you were being deliberately ambiguous.
But I mean, some decks care about ramp more than others.
That's true. And this is a very top-heavy deck as well. Like with Aurelia's Assemble the Legion.
Right.
Even Desecration, if you don't have
already
4 lands in
for
hand,
3.
the Rakdos' Keyrune can act as your 4th land.
This is true.
Yeah, I didn't think that Nightveil Spectre was long for this world.
No, it has not lived in any of these 3 games. It has been Adrian's turn 3 play every time it has died.
One thing John Hanna's deck loves doing is killing creatures.
Especially Nightveil Spectres.
Yeah.
Some decks have difficulty answering it, not John Hanna's.
No.
He can Chain to the Rocks it.
He can Chain to the Rocks it.
Visium Mortars it.
Dreadbore it.
Dreadbore it. So many
War
answers.
Leader's Helix it.
And he has a few heroes downfalls as well.
He don't cur. But he's resorted
Reading
to
some
attacking with
bones.
a Rakdos for Keyrune, so
This is the second turn in a row.
that's not a resort at that point. That's a plan.
Yeah, that's... Oh, Cyclonic Rift.
Oh, it's done. Oh, Grey Merchant for 2.
Drain you for 2.
What if he's got 3 other Grey Merchants?
One
just
thing
like
that could
2, 4,
imply
6?
is more... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
More Grey Merchants.
Just to get him out as quick as possible.
John Hanna has apparently shocked himself some because he's already at 14.
Yeah, I think he took one from two from a land and then 2 from reading those bones. Reading the bones is actually very painful.
Right.
You should just leave bones alone. That's pretty much my advice as a.
If you see bones on the street,
as a
don't
physician,
stop to read them.
Don't do it because you will get hurt.
You might also get to draw some cards though.
You could.
Everyone loves drawing cards.
It's a really a risk versus a reward thing. Like, is drawing the cards worth the price of reading the bones?
Yes.
Personally, I'm bone illiterate, so I actually can't read bones.
Bone illiterate.
But I don't like talking about it, so it's a sensitive issue. Just saw Melissa walk by. Wonder how
you think she's
doing.
winning?
If I know Melissa, she's winning.
What was she playing in Standard again? Do you remember?
I don't know, actually. I want to say mono blue, maybe?
I want to say that, too.
She does like a mono blue.
Chain to the Rocks, your Grey Merchant. The nice thing about Chain to the Rocks here is that in exiling the Grey Merchant, all future Grey Merchants have less devotion.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot. It also keeps it from whipping it back.
Chain to the Rocks!
Whereas if you kill the Grey Merchant, it's still a threat later on. And we were correct. There's a second Grey Merchant out of Adrian's hand.
Grey Merchants for days.
Way less impressive now that the first one has been chained.
But
still a reasonable threat.
If he has an Abrupt Decay, he can unchain it and then get another devotion.
Oh
get
my
another
God.
Grey Merchant trigger.
That would be so sick.
I like that idea.
And Adrian definitely leaves in Abrupt Decays in this matchup because you want to kill Boros Reckoner too.
It's unfortunate that he used the Cyclonic Rift because if he
geez.
hadn't, he could just bounce. Oh my God, what happened to this board?
An overloaded Cyclonic Rift on this board would be amazing.
I'm gonna play all these big monsters.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of damage being represented here. And I think Adrian's just going to take another attack, depending on his hand.
I mean, like, while Adrian's in really good...
When does Aurelia trigger? Is it at the after damage is dealt?
Oh, let's check.
I'm curious now.
It says whenever she attacks. So, like, as soon as you announce the attack, then they untap immediately. So they essentially have vigilance during the attack.
So if both players confirm life totals and write it down before the one player has untapped them, you can technically say you've missed your trigger. Because then there's been a change to the game state to say that you've missed the trigger. Anything that happens before that, like blockers and whatnot, won't be considered a change to the game state. So then he would still have time to untap them.
Oh, Gaze of Granite getting back his...
That was a pretty sweet Gaze of Granite. Very mana efficient.
But what can he do here?
Well, he has 2 mana, and he tapped 2 lands, so he probably has something to do with it. Abrupt Decay obviously doesn't kill anything.
No.
Adrian at 5 life.
Oh, a Doomblade on the Aurelia. That's actually really solid.
Very good, yes.
Wow.
Time has been called, and I do not believe that these players have an extension.
I don't imagine so.
Because they started on time.
But to be honest, I didn't see this match going more than 4 minutes, more than 5 turns anyway.
Right. We are right at the climax.
There's a Sin Collector. I don't think that's going to actually nab any. Oh, a Hero's Demise. Downfall.
That card was super important. Hero's Downfall, yeah. Adrian could withdraw a Whip of Erebos here. Or no, he can't. Because he has to sacrifice one of his...
Why did he Doomblade Hero's Downfall on the same turn, do you think?
Because he wanted to get Grey Merchant in play. He wanted to win.
Interesting. All right. Grey Merchant. No, I don't think it was Grey Merchant.
I think it was another removal spell, though.
Unless he's like the slow-rollingest in history.
And I think another removal spell does keep him alive.
Yeah.
I need to actually see what the card is. But I think it's a second Hero's Downfall.
I mean, depending on the removal... Yeah, if it's a Hero's Downfall, it gets rid of the demon, and he can just block the other creatures.
The Key Rune, take 2, go to 3.
Oh, man, these games have been so close.
So very close. 3 tight games all in a row.
And actually, to be fair, the last game wasn't that close until the very end.
Some very exciting magic. I mean, it was close the whole time. Like he had outs the entire game.
He had to draw it.
Adrian taking a while here, as is his wont.
Yeah, I'm wondering what that card is though.
I'm pretty sure it was a black card, monocolor black card.
Watch it be a Grey Merchant, and he's just like slow rolling it.
That is something that I've tried to do before. An opponent miracled a bonfire for 7, and I had a redirect in hand.
Liliana.
That's not exciting.
And he has 3 swamps in play.
He still lives. He still kills the Sin Collector, and then he has to sacrifice the Grey Merchant.
And then he goes to
tap down the demon.
But can he draw anything that would actually...
I like using the Liliana to kill the Sin Collector now and serving for 2 damage.
That's actually pretty good, because then a Grey Merchant off the top is live. Jeez. Can you imagine if that was how this game ended? A second Grey Merchant off the top for exactly 2?
Especially since he's already seen 2 of them.
Yeah, now we go. I think it's what we're doing. We're killing the Sin Collector. That is the play.
I like it. What's going on? The Sin Collector isn't in the graveyard yet.
Why isn't...
I think John Hanna's just shortcutting with the block.
Actually, I think he gave the Grey Merchant +X, so I think it's a 4/6. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, because then he leaves John Hanna with the option to misplay and maybe block with the Rakdos Key Rune, which is actually a better loss.
Which he thought about.
Yeah. See, so it's the same. Well, no, because the 2 damage doesn't get through though.
Yeah. So now a Grey Merchant off the top isn't lethal for him. He gave his opponent the chance to misplay, but the misplay is just taking lethal, right? It's not really like people just don't do that.
Yeah. Well, if he draws a Grey Merchant, he's going to kick himself.
What?
What did he not attack?
He just doesn't attack with the Key Rune.
What's going on?
I don't know. Adrian was very happy.
It feels like they're just playing for the draw. No, I think John might have. If Adrian drew a removal spell, we don't know.
They could actually. They're in what, turn 3 here?
Oh, a Devour Flesh.
Whoa.
Well, he didn't activate his
I think
keyring.
I think John Hanna just forgot that he has a creature in play.
What is that? Yeah, maybe.
Because it didn't attack last turn. It didn't activate to sacrifice to Devour Flesh here.
What just...
I think he just thinks that it's a mana source.
How is Adrian winning this game?
He's not. But they might draw it now. Just passes the turn, no attacks.
Well, Adrian just goes up to 11
Adrian's
life,
very
though.
excited.
Or no, John does. John goes up to 12, but like, for Adrian to still be alive right now, and then I don't think John actually gets another turn.
So after Rakdos
Adrian's like, go
Kieran
to
not
2.
being a creature for multiple turns, it's suddenly a creature again.
Wow, what it just
We all make
happened.
mistakes.
But I'm
John
just,
Hanna must have just missed it.
I'm just surprised.
It looks like Adrian has the loss here, though. Like, all John Hanna has to do is attack him one more time. And it looks like,
well,
yep,
that guy's gonna do it. Wow,
that's the win.
That's crazy.
Adrian playing tight, clinging to life as long as possible.
Well, and like again, you're giving your opponent as many opportunities as you can to misplay, and like I feel like Adrian definitely did that.
They were very close to a draw.